Hey, I, the Big Bad Wolf, am celebrating on this YouTube channel that today marks the 40th anniversary of the release of the original Star Wars film, A New Hope. So, of course, to celebrate, I'm doing an audio review for you all. Yep, the original read-along book and audio adaptation of Star Wars from 1979. And get this read-along was actually co-produced by Buena Vista Records. And look who owns the Star Wars franchise now. Ironic, isn't it? Which is why I'm reviewing it for you all. This is the first title in Buena Vista Records' read-along adventures line, which adapted non-Disney properties on film. Well, at the time for the Star Wars franchise, it was released on both vinyl record and on cassette, as I already mentioned for you. I was going to play the cassette version for you all, but it has issues with my cassette recorder. So I'm going with the record version here. But anyways, the back here is pretty much the same as the other Disney Buena Vista read-along titles of the era, just modified to mention and feature Star Wars. And it even says, each book and record combination is a fun-filled experience in music and story adventure, featuring word-for-word story narration, dramatic character dialogue, authentic sound effects, and musical backgrounds. No favorite songs to sing, as these weren't musicals and shouldn't be. The book uses actual screen caps and photos from the film, as it would be easier for kids to relive the movie. As in the days before home video, this is one way to re-enjoy a movie or something. By the way, A New Hope first came out on home video 3 years later in 1982. It doesn't have any of the actual voices, though, as I guess they would have been too pricey. Corey Burton and Tress MacNeille did the majority of the voices, as they're both Disney regulars and still are today. Some of them sound pretty good, and some don't. But according to this, though, it does use John Williams' actual music score and the same sound effects as the film. Buena Vista Records actually got the Star Wars sound designer Ben Burt on board to supply some of the effects, according to producer Jim Magan. So anyways, let's see, hear, and read.
This is the story of Star Wars. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 beep, like this.
Yeah, that's what the Star Wars read-alongs use as the page-turning signal.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the hope of freedom was kept alive by rebel forces fighting against the evil Galactic Empire. In a daring raid, rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. But as the rebels raced back to their base, they were pursued by a powerful Imperial starship.
Yep, there are the sound effects.
On board the
sounds like a submarine.
Units were knocked about as deadly laser bolts exploded outside. C-3PO, the taller...
It spells their names phonetically in the book.
R2-D2, the Imperial starship is getting closer. We'll be destroyed for sure. This is madness.
Sounds a little strange, doesn't he?
Within minutes, dozens of Imperial stormtroopers boarded the rebel craft, firing their laser rifles. The helpless rebel soldiers could only surrender. Through the hatch strode a black-cloaked, helmeted figure, Darth Vader, the fierce Imperial warrior.
Commander, tear this ship apart and...
That's Darth Vader's voice? That's not even close to James Earl
While
Jones.
stormtroopers searched frantically
Corey
for
Burton's a good voice
stolen
actor, but he
the
couldn't do a
rebel
very good
princess
Darth Vader.
Called R2-D2 into a deserted corridor.
Here, R2. I have placed the secret plans and a message in your memory bank.
Tress does a
You
pretty
and C-3PO
decent voice for
take an
Princess
escape pod,
Leia.
Land on the planet of Tatooine below and deliver the plans to Obi-Wan
It's weird.
Kenobi.
Oh.
He will know what to do.
It's a little harsher hearing it now since we
Only
lost
seconds
Carrie
after the two
Fisher
droids
last
left
year.
Earth, Princess Leia was captured and brought before Darth Vader.
Oh.
How dare you attack us, Lord Vader? We are on a diplomatic mission.
Don't play games with me, Your Highness.
Answered Vader.
You are a part of the Rebel Alliance. On the Death Star, you will tell us where your secret base is. Come.
Makes it almost sound kind of British there.
Meanwhile, below on Tatooine, a young lad named Luke Skywalker was yearning to join the rebellion and soar through the galaxy fighting the evil Empire. But Luke felt he should stay and work on his uncle's struggling farm. How could Luke know that the key to his dreams was only a few miles away? The two droids had landed with the plans. R2 and 3PO were soon picked up by Jawas, a band of small desert scavengers. The Jawas took the droids to Luke's farm, hoping to sell them for a good price. Luke looked the droids over.
Okay, we'll take them. Follow me, you two. I'll clean you up in the shed.
Yeah, although Corey does a pretty good Luke Skywalker. Even Mark Hamill admitted
Luke
it.
scraped the dirt off R2. He accidentally triggered Leia's
Oh.
message. Her projected image pleaded.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Luke was puzzled.
I wonder if she means old Ben Kenobi, the desert hermit. Come on,
Could
you two.
be.
Let's go see him.
Old Ben was full of surprises.
Yes, my boy. I was once called Obi-Wan Kenobi, back when I was a Jedi Knight, like your father.
My father was a Jedi?
Asked the startled youth, remembering stories about the noble knights who kept the peace before the Empire took control.
Yes, Luke. And this was his lightsaber.
Yeah.
I've
Like,
been saving it for you.
Ben handed Luke a sleek cylinder. At the touch of a button, an intense beam of light shot out to form a glowing blade.
the famous sound effect for it.
This is the weapon of the Jedi. Your father was killed by a treacherous pupil of mine named Darth Vader.
Oh, wait till the sequel.
Vader will soon be using the Death Star to destroy rebel planets. Luke, for the sake of your father and the Rebel Alliance, you must help me deliver these secret plans and stop Darth Vader. I will teach you how to use the Force, the power which gives the Jedi his strength and skill.
Luke eagerly agreed to help.
Very good, Luke.
Smiled Ben.
Now come. Stormtroopers will soon be looking for you and your droids. We must find a pilot who will take us to Princess Leia's home planet of Alderaan at once.
Oh,
Their search began in a local tavern filled with strange alien...
it's the Cantina theme.
In a dark booth, Ben and Luke located a brash smuggler pilot named Han Solo.
Sure, I can get you to Alderaan, but it'll cost you plenty. Smuggling rebel sympathizers through Imperial blockades is no picnic.
Han's co-pilot, Chewbacca, a shaggy 8-foot Wookiee, roared his agreement.
See, like use the actual roaring sound for Chewbacca too.
Droids boarded Han's ship, the Millennium Falcon, with stormtroopers hot on their trail. Only Han's skill as a pilot put them safely out of the Empire's reach. But as the Falcon neared Alderaan, Han couldn't believe his eyes.
Look, the planet's gone. It's been blown to bits.
Well, you don't see it in the book.
This is Darth Vader's work.
Said Ben sadly.
Pretty neat so far, huh? I definitely remember the Cantina Band song when it was played at Amp New England's 2015 final round of musical chairs during the first two games. Sure was suspenseful in that case, but confidentially, I'm just glad I wasn't in that final round. But yeah, those substitute voices are pretty unusual, but at least we still have the authentic music and sound effects to keep it going. Unlike a few other certain read-alongs that recast the voices. But besides that, let's turn the record over and we can continue the story.
Vader's huge battle station, the Death Star, was lurking nearby and had detected the Falcon's presence.
Let's get out of here!
Shouted Han.
Chewie, the controls aren't responding. We're caught in a tractor beam. It's pulling us right into the Death Star. Quick, everyone, into this secret compartment. When we land, those stormtroopers will think the ship's empty.
Meanwhile, Darth Vader was questioning Princess Leia in her prison cell.
Where is the secret rebel base?
Well, he sounds kind of British, kind of reminds me when Stewie Griffin played Darth Vader in the Family Guy versions of the Star Wars trilogy.
Vader angrily turned to leave when suddenly he stopped.
I sense a tremor in the Force. There is a presence. Yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi is here. I feel it.
In the meantime, Luke, Han, and Chewbacca had come out of hiding to find Princess Leia and release her. She had expected a different rescuer.
Where is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
He's trying to shut off a tractor beam so we can fly out of here.
Said Han impatiently.
Now let's move it.
There go the alarms!
Submarine-style arms, too.
Stormtroopers raced after them, filling the air with laser fire. Luke, Han, and Chewbacca fought back bravely, but they were hopelessly outnumbered.
I never bargained for this.
Complained Han between blasts.
Head for the Falcon.
Ben succeeded in shutting off the tractor beam, but his return to Han's ship was blocked by Darth Vader.
So,
Use the actual breathing for him, at least.
Kenobi, this time I will destroy you.
If you do, Darth, I will only grow stronger.
The two warriors lit their lightsabers. A furious battle began. The air hummed and sparks flew as lightsabers swung and clashed. Finally, Darth's saber cut through Ben's cloaks. But the old Jedi was no longer there. He had vanished. Luke and the others dashed aboard the Millennium Falcon as Han leaped to the controls.
Okay, Chewie, hit it.
Engines roared, and the Falcon shot out of the docking bay. Han hollered to Luke.
Get to a laser cannon, kid. We've got 4 Imperial TIE fighters chasing us.
Luke, still stunned by Ben's disappearance, managed to fire the cannon repeatedly until he and Han had shot down all their pursuers. Leia directed Han to the secret rebel base, where she turned over the stolen plans. After much study, the Death Star's weak spot was found. Rebel pilots had to hit an exhaust port with their proton torpedoes, but the rebel forces were pitifully small compared to the might of the Imperial legions. The rebel commander was happy to accept Luke's help, and the young warrior joined the bombing run as an X-Wing pilot. As the rebel squadron flew toward the terrible Death Star, Luke thought,
Even if we're not shot at, zeroing in on that tiny target will be practically impossible.
"Heads up," called the squadron leader.
TIE fighters approaching.
the two enemies engaged, the blackness of space was lit by beams from hundreds of laser cannons.
Turn the page signal of R2-D2 makes it sound kind of like he's actually with them all the time.
Begin bombing run. Now.
X-Wings skimmed the trench time and again, but either missed the target or were shot down by TIE fighters. As Luke zoomed down into the trench, he glanced over his shoulder.
Oh no, it's Darth Vader,
And he's right on my tail.
Vader prepared to fire. Suddenly, a familiar ship swooped down and sent Vader's fighters spinning off into space.
Okay, kid, you're all clear.
It was Han Solo and his Falcon.
Yep.
But the next voice Luke heard was Ben Kenobi's.
Luke, use the Force. Let it guide your actions.
Closing his eyes, Luke concentrated on the target and fired his proton torpedoes. They flew straight and true into the exhaust port. As Luke lifted away, the Death Star exploded in a dazzling ball of flame.
One of the best movie explosions of all time.
Luke had succeeded with Han Solo's help. Back at the Rebels' secret base, the two received a hero's welcome. In a grand ceremony, Princess Leia placed medals around their necks, while the joyful Rebel troops looked on. Luke Skywalker, the simple farm boy, had realized his dream and proved himself a leader in the Rebel cause.
And there you have it. Amazing how 40 years later, that movie still holds up really well, even without George Lucas trying to enhance it. It's worth noting that in the mid-90s, TW Kids re-released this read-along and its follow-ups as part of their book and tape line. And then in 1997, Disney Records produced all new book and cassette Star Wars read-along adaptations, which has since been reissued onto compact disc and are still available today. They even recently came out with read-along adaptations of the prequels, and of course they've also adapted the latest Star Wars films Disney co-produced. I guess I could see why Disney expressed interest in buying the Lucasfilm stuff. Guess given how Disney had those Star Wars read-alongs, and Disney Hollywood Studios in Florida used to have those Star Wars weekends before the Lucasfilm buyout too. Don't expect anything really big from me for quite a while, at least not until August when I go to Boston Comic-Con, where I'll be bringing back Big Bad Wolf Daddy. It's gonna be a big one this year. I did go to a Disney cosplay picnic at the Boston Common last Saturday and had a good time there. I've been to Boston numerous times now, so it's like people don't find me odd anymore. But I do have a few more read-along reviews planned in the coming weeks, so stay tuned.